Yo, this is Alan Fenstermaker here with another exciting episode of Top Rope TV. Now, before we get things kicked off with the show, let's start with a brief, short segment.
What happened last week? I need to know.
In case you didn't see it, because you weren't there. I was going over what happened at the ECWA Legacy Super 8 Tournament Edition, and somebody attacked me. I don't know who it was, but I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Get out of here. Matter of fact, get out of here. You know what? I'm going to get to the bottom of this like I was just saying, and I got some people in mind, and I'm gonna question them. Oh, hey, buddy! Mr. Mike Dalton. You weren't with me and Alan when we filmed my short segment?
I was taking care of business.
Are you sure you were taking care of business?
Yeah,
because the person was built like you. The person was built like you.
It wasn't me.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I swear to... I swear if it was you, you're getting one ticket straight to Shorty City.
God, what a day for a photo shoot. I don't know that. Where are these guys at? Shorty! Behave yourself. You've been zapped.
Man, that short segment gets weirder and weirder every week. I know, first off, it starts off with Ian Short going on this questioning thing, wondering who in the bloody hell attacked him the other week on Top Rope TV. I have no idea who did it. I don't know, was it Marvelous Mike Dalton? I don't know, was it him? I don't know who it was, but I guarantee Ian Short will get to the bottom of that, and when he finds out, that person is going straight to Shorty City. But heck, dude, it was a weird week because next thing you know, Ian's questioning Marvelous Mike about what happened, if Marvelous Mike was the one that attacked him. But then after that, went right to where Ian got slapped by some chick that he grabbed their ass. But anyways, a word from our sponsor.
Slay the day, baby.
Dragon Slayer Warrior Wear. Slay the dead.
Up next is this week's AWA, Affiliated Wrestling Alliance. Thank you to Johnny Rose for putting us on Ben TV over in the UK. So without further ado, let's go with it.
Bulldog Chris Smith here, fresh off another victory at Dinnington Resource Centre. Now what I'm about to say has no disrespect whatsoever to all the guys in the UK that have wrestled part of the AWA, but I need a new challenge, and there's only one person that I think I should challenge. I know you're in the UK at the time. I need the challenge of my lifetime. I need to face the best there is around, and that is you, Kevin Phoenix. I know you're in the UK in October, so why not come and face me in my hometown, Dinnington Resource Centre, in October, and we'll put it all on the line. Hope to see you there.
Thank you to the AWA for allowing us to use this content, and thanks again to Johnny Rose for allowing us to be on Ben TV and getting us exposure over in the UK. Okay, folks. Up next, I had the honor and the privilege to interview Hollywood from the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. So without further ado, let's get right to that one. Hey, this is Alan Fenstermaker here with Pro Wrestling Archives. Would you care to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Hollywood from the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Awesome.
The original Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. We don't want to get it mixed up with Glow Netflix.
Okay. Now, what do you think with the whole women's revolution in wrestling these days?
I think it's wonderful. First off, I always think if you didn't have Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, you may not have that. And we never can forget our legends, you know, the Moolahs and Penny Banners. So I always give thanks to the legends that were before us. But I think that they're doing a fabulous job. Their athleticism is better. It's really good.
Okay. Now, what do you think of the direction that wrestling is going in these days?
I'm not a huge fan, so you're asking me a question, I'm being honest. But what I see is these girls are such athletes. I think it's going in the right direction, and I'm loving to see that we're seeing different heights and different weights and different physiques. And so that to me is really important, that it's not all TNA looking.
Okay.
So that I love.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what gave you the inspiration to get started in wrestling?
Oh boy, so that's a long time ago. There's going to be a big panel, but I'll tell you quickly, it was just an interview, audition. I went down to this. I was not a wrestler. None of the girls were. David McLean was there asking us, this show's going to be about women's wrestling. Who's interested? Raised my hand, went in. Mondo Guerrero was my trainer, was April's trainer, and they picked 12 of us. We did a pilot and did our show.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, now, thanks for doing the interview. Do you have anything you'd like to plug at all?
I would love to plug it. If you guys are interested, I have a Twitter, which is @GlowHollywood. We also have a wonderful cruise that's coming up. That cruise is September 7th through the 14th, if anybody is interested. OriginalGlowGirls.com. Come and cruise with the Glow Girls. Thank you.
Thank you for doing the interview.
So nice to meet you.
Thank you, Hollywood, for doing the interview. It was an honor and a privilege to interview you. And the women's revolution is stronger than ever and very up and coming in these days in professional wrestling. And I thank you for giving your insights on it. But without further ado, up next is the interview that I did with Greg the Hammer Valentine. So without further ado, let's get right to that. Yo, this is Alan Fenstermaker here with Pro Wrestling Archives. I'm here with Greg the Hammer Valentine. How are you doing today, Greg?
I'm good, thanks.
Now, can you tell me something? What do you think about your feud that you had with Ric Flair?
Well, it was legendary because I broke his big nose. And I also almost broke his leg, but the nose was the big deal.
Now, what advice would you give to someone that's trying to get into the wrestling business?
I don't know what to tell them. You know, I mean, it's all different nowadays. It was really hard to get into in the 70s, 80s, 90s, my era. I guess it's a lot easier to get into it now, but who knows if that's going to help you make it to the top. You know, WWE. You know what? I would tell them to make sure they kept their day job.
Now, what gave you the inspiration to become a pro wrestler?
I guess it would be Johnny Valentine, my father.
Okay.
And, I was on the road with him a long time, and so I got hooked. I wanted to try it, and I never looked back. It was tough, being the son of a famous wrestler like that, but I think that's why I made it, because it was tough.
Now, I guess that's it now. Anyways, thanks again for doing the interview, man.
Right,
Definitely appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, Greg. It was an honor and a privilege to interview you. Now, up next is an interview that I did at Impact Wrestling with Dave Crist. So without further ado, let's get right to that. Hey, this is Alan Fenstermaker here with Pro Wrestling Archives. I'm here with Dave Crist. How you doing today, Dave?
It goes back and forth. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty. How was your match tonight?
Well, it was really good up until the fact that we lost, but it's okay. It's fine. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Okay. Now,
How was your match tonight?
I wasn't in a match.
Oh, that's right.
I'm an interviewer. Now, what inspirations do you have to become a pro wrestler?
Sam McCallahan, Jake Crist.
Okay.
I
Now,
guess I'm older than them, so I guess it really doesn't make sense. So I'm going to go ahead and say Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, guys like that. Ric Flair, the dirty ones.
now, what kind of training did you do to become a pro wrestler?
Well, I started training at the age of 15. We trained in a barn with no heat, no air conditioning. It was an aluminum barn, so basically when it was 100 degrees outside, it was like 110 inside that barn. So as there are also these little holes from where it's a tin roof. So when it would snow inside our ring.
Okay, that's interesting.
Kind of sucked.
Okay.
It was trained by a guy named Bill Kovaleski.
Okay. All right. Now, what's your favorite era or time period in wrestling history?
I'm going to go ahead and say the 90s. I was a really big fan of ACW.
Okay. Now, that probably brings back a lot.
What's your favorite era?
My favorite era would probably be the Attitude Era, and now it probably brings back
unimpressed.
Okay. Now this probably brings back to you some memories being in the old ECW arena too. What's that like?
Well, this isn't my first rodeo, cowboy. I've been here before.
Okay.
I've won many championships in this building.
Okay.
Back in the day in ECW.
Okay. Now, what promotions?
I wasn't in ECW.
Okay. Now, what promotions were you in before?
Like before I got here?
Yes.
Oh, this is my first time ever wrestling.
Okay, it is.
No. I've wrestled for a long time. Let's see. I've wrestled for Big Japan, obviously in Japan. WXW in Germany, Fight Club Pro in England. Trained at HWA, Heartland Wrestling Association, after I, left. Once I was 18, I trained there, so I wrestled there. OVW, I've done some stuff, basically all over the country. PWG, CZW, Jakara, House of Hardcore. I mean, should I keep going, or do you want me to stop? Rockstar Pro there in Dayton, Ohio. I can quit, or I can keep going. Ring of Honor, like when we were 2 years in, we got our first Ring of Honor gigs.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, do you have anything you'd like to plug at all, or?
What do you mean plug?
Like any events you have coming up, or any social media or anything?
Well, when's this going out?
This is going out probably within the next week.
So if I mention that we'll be here again tomorrow with Impact Wrestling, it won't make a difference.
Nah.
Oh, okay. No.
Okay.
How about those brownies? Let's plug the brownies.
Okay, that works.
September 8th against the Titans, opening day. I'm all about it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Anything you want to plug?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm good,
Why don't you go ahead and plug your stuff?
Okay, I'm with Pro Wrestling Archives and Top Rope TV, and just thanks again for doing this interview with me, man.
See that? I got your shit in.
Okay, cool. Awesome, brother. Thank you, Dave, and thank you to Impact Wrestling for allowing me to do this interview. But up next is tonight's main event match of the night. Some time ago, the Top Rope Network was up at CCW Live up in Lewistown, Pennsylvania, where Mr. No Limits, Chris Banks, took on Delirious. So without further ado, let's get right to that match.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our main event tonight in Classic Championship Wrestling for that big gold bout for the CCW Heavyweight Championship. Champion Chris Banks, Mr. No Limits, against independent wrestling superstar, Ring of Honor superstar, Delirious. There's the bell, and Delirious off like a gunshot. And Delirious is nothing but fired up, folks. This crowd in Lewistown doesn't know what to expect. You know, Delirious been around for 16 years. I know Chris Banks has studied up on this his opponent tonight. But when you're standing across the ring from the Madman, it's kind of just hard to take in. I mean, the bell's wrong, folks. This match technically has started, but Delirious is just... Delirious just called for the count-out victory. There we go. Been fun tonight, folks. We'll see it. I guess it's not legal. All right, not a problem. I'm sure as many of you watching this will know Delirious, 16-year vet. Companies like Ring of Honor, Chikara, IW Mid-South, TNA, Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. This guy has been everywhere. He is... He's just delirious, folks. And Chris Banks, though, no slouch himself. In this business several years now, been making a name for himself everywhere he goes. Current CCW champion, having recently beaten Mr. Ping earlier in 2017 to earn that title. Wins in CCW over people like Bro Keller. Stefan Ramon. Mr. No Limits from New York City, recently competed in the Warriors of Wrestling King of New York tournaments. Some of the best independent talent that New York has to offer. Delirious. Holds his men. Collar and elbow tie up. There we go, middle of the ring. Both men jockeying position. Referee looking for a clean break. Banks, clean break. Kind of shocked. Oh, it's hilarious. Takes off the jacket finally. Just slapped Delirious. Delirious. Delirious, though, counters with the head drop there. Big shot. Nice body press there. It's two. Banks needs to stop with the hands of the crowd and turn attention back to Delirious. Oh, just hits his opponent with a block of water. To the front head and head with Banks. Banks looking to retrieve Delirious. Stuck. Someone's shoe? Someone's boot. Banks is knocking over guardrails.
With the beer. Get up.
Stuck with the opponent of Banks. Gets a nice throat cuff. Banks. Got it. Advantage part of this. Banks breaks the car before offering his head. Delirious with someone with purse. Wow, listen. It really works. If you're on Wow. Banks, though, they were fired back. Mr. No Limits would love to have this feather in his cap to beat Delirious, retain his CW championship. Almost toying with Delirious at this point.
See
shots from their knees. Crowd would love to see Delirious knock off Chris Banks, shut his mouth here. Banks, the schoolboy. 1, 2, go.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that match. And thank you to Rob Noxious and Classic Championship Wrestling for allowing me to record that match with Mr. No Limits, Chris Banks, and International Superstar, Ring of Honor Superstar, Delirious. But that's all the time we have for tonight. Until next time, this is Alan Fenstermaker signing off. Keep your wrestling in a headlock. We'll catch you next time on Top Rope TV.